Welcome to Conscious Dominance, a DSRX studio production with Eric and Andrew. In our weekly conversations, we explore how we approach our committed relationships as a powerful catalyst for mindful leadership and inner dominance. As men who intentionally lead our powerful feminine partners, we share insights for discovering how the craft of consciousness deepens our capacity to love, serve, and connect with our true selves.
Andrew, I have got a topic: dominance as service. And what comes to mind when I say that? Why would I even want to talk about that? Why would that be a topic that I would bring up for you? When I brought these topics up, you were like, oh, that's a good one. I want to know why you feel like that's a good one.
Well, in over 3 years now, as my full-time job, teaching and coaching people in these relationship dynamics, the thing that comes up more often than anything when a guy is at the beginning of a dom-sub relationship is, oh good, I can finally get my way now. And when you really get to the bottom of what is getting his way, it's, I can get all the head I want, and I can make her be nice to me. I can make her be happy, and I can get all the head I want. Inevitably, the guys that only want to see and pursue it that way generally don't want to work with me, because I'll tell them, like, it's not about what you get, it's about what you give. It's not about getting something from her, because as soon as you try to make her do it, now she's in obligation. Whether she's your submissive or not, you're always going to feel the fact that she's just performing. Mm-hmm. And it's never going to feel good to you. So if you make it all about what you get, it's going to blow up in your face. Mm-hmm. And it just happened this week. I had a guy who, brand new couple, they'd just gotten together. They were going to explore dom-sub together. And they met with me about giving them some pointers and some coaching on how to start off on the right foot, which is awesome when I get a chance to do that with a couple that's brand new together. And they're like, we really like each other. We don't want to screw this up. Can you teach us what we don't know? And that's one of my favorite things to do, because you can just help people not make the same mistakes that I made when they're willing to. These people met with them probably a year ago when they didn't like my approach. Like she wanted him to boss her around and force her, and he wanted to get everything he wanted. And so it just wasn't a good vibe. They didn't want to pursue things in the way that I've learned that it works for me, and that's fine. Guess who came back this week and said, hey, we really need your help. There's some things in our relationship that aren't working out. Would you be willing to coach us? Mm-hmm. And I said, sure. And the first conversation I had with them, I could just see everything that I told them that wasn't going to work. They tried to do it. It didn't work.
Why didn't it work?
Because, well, back to one of our most recent episodes talking about polarity, he was all about what he was getting. Therefore, she was all about what she was giving. She was getting stressed out, burned out, feeling like she was trying to live up to a standard that she could never live up to. She was in the masculine energy. He was in the feminine energy. He was receiving. She was giving. He wasn't happy with it because it didn't feel real. It felt like she was faking it. And she wasn't happy because she was just frazzled and burned out with her job and her kids, and then trying to meet all of these expectations, live up to all these rules, perform all these rituals. And they were breaking.
And you told them that would happen.
I told them that does not support long-term dominance and submission in a loving relationship. You can do it. It can be sexy. It can be fun. It can be hot. It can be a great time for a scene for a period of time, but that isn't how it will work over the long run.
So how does it work over the long run?
Well, this is back to your point, and why I said this is such a great idea or a great topic is we have to look at dominance as what we give. We have to look at it as serving, as providing, protecting. And does that mean we don't want all the head that we want and for her to be really happy all the time? Of course we do. That's what we all want that as guys. But forcing that outcome without earning it will only result in everything blowing up. Are you going to try to get it without earning it? Or are you going to become the kind of man that inspires that in her, the desire to give to you? So in order for it to work over the long run, we have to be putting ourselves in a position where what she gives to us is coming from a place of fullness in her. Mm-hmm. So we have to give first. And then think about it this way. Think about it this way for yourself, Eric, or is any dominant listening to this. What feels better to you? When your woman wants to give you pleasure because she's so turned on by you, she's so inspired by you, she's so grateful to you, she's just overwhelmed with what kind of man you are, and she wants to give to you. What feels better, that or you have to do this because you're my submissive? And she says, okay, and she does it. What one feels better? Mm-hmm. I all know the answer.
Right. And I think a word that comes to mind that we talked about in the last episode with polarity, or previous one, I don't know when these will be released, but the entitlement. I think entitlement is a really good word. I think entitlement describes the latter. And I think there's something that I know you live by, is that we have to earn it. And when you're entitled to something, you're not earning it. And I think that's just one of the big issues with dominant submissive. When people think of it and they first hear about it, they think, oh, good, I'll just get it without doing anything. Yep. And it reminds me of the beginning of the Coming to America, where he's like the king in Africa, and he's like, the royal penis is clean. And that's those women. And he's like, jump on a dog and be the dog. And that's what people think is the dominant sub. It's like, yeah, that's cool. And you might get some. I haven't
seen that movie forever.
But you know what I'm talking about. You know that scene. And that there is something there that has, I don't want to dismiss that. That could be something that you could entertain. But like you said, it's not sustainable over the long term. It doesn't beget the energy of a woman who's full flesh and blood woman, who's strong, who's powerful, who has a voice, who's educated, who's bringing a lot to the surface. And in order to dominate or lead said woman, you can't be entitled in your mindset with her. You have to actually be, like you said, be the man she wants. That's to be in service. But this is the complicated. This is why we have a fucking podcast. It's not just you giving her whatever she wants. It's not her then all of a sudden being in charge and telling you what to do. That's not going to work either. So the question that I have for you, Anders, how do you be of service and be a dominant at the same time? How do those two things go together? How do you say no to her? This is the dilemma that I wrestled with when I first was entering this, and you were helping me. I was one of the most beguiling. It's not obvious at first.
It really starts with attunement. To me, that is where it all begins. It begins with being able to, when I say attunement, tuning in. Think about yourself as a man like a radio, an old school radio with a dial on it. And then you've got the over-the-air FM station that's playing music. And if you want to listen to the music, you have to tune your dial to the right frequency so you can receive, your radio can receive the signal from that radio station, and then you can hear the music. So as a man, you have to tune yourself into the frequency of what it is that she is sharing, so you can receive it, so you can hear it. And I know you asked me about giving and service, but how do you know what to give? What we do when our radios, when our attunement is to our fear of upsetting her, or our fear of losing her, or to the program that we're still running inside, which is saying, if I upset mom is going to do this to me, or mom is going to pull her love away from me, or whatever, boyhood programs that we're running on the inside. Now we're going to be trying to give things to her, which are really just an attempt to get some void in us filled or some need in us met. So we have to tune into our woman and to her experience and what she is feeling. And challenging sometimes is what she really needs. Not what she wants, but what she needs. Because sometimes what she needs isn't going to be what she wants. No. We're not going to do this. Would you give a little kid ice cream every day because they want it? If they want to eat ice cream 3 meals a day, would you give that to them? No, because it's not what they actually need, even though they want it. So being able to see what it is that she needs and provide for her in that way. One of the things that you can do is really tune into where is her fear and how can you give to her in a way that helps her start to relax her nervous system. We start to get back from her is how she feels when she's having those needs met. But it all starts with attunement. It starts with being able to tune into her.
And that's why there's a craft, because there is a way. And attuning to, like, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is really helpful. If you're seeing your woman and she's frazzled and you're like, where do I start? And you've got a leaky house and you don't have a job and there's a bunch of other shit going on, and you think you're going to lead her by doing something with her, that's ridiculous. Actually, she say, honey, I got some work to do and you need to go get to work. And you need to go exit stage left, go get a job, go take care of your money, go take care of your house. And then that's the leadership. The leadership isn't necessarily always with her in the presence. Sometimes that leadership and that service is literally something where you're actually creating a home for her. You're creating safety for her. You're creating structure for her. That's the service. There's like basic shit that we sometimes think it's fun and play. And that's like this immature pornographic version that we want to live some sort of fantasy world when she's got food to eat, she needs a home, she needs to live, she needs electricity, she's got these things. And so if you want...
She needs to feel emotionally safe.
Exactly. And so if you're constantly triggered by her, thank you for that, and you didn't do therapy because she can't even say anything without you losing your shit, go get a fucking therapist. Go actually grow up. Go learn how to hold your temper. Go actually do your own inner work, so that you can hold her. She can be the one that gets upset without you losing your shit. Go ahead.
Well, what you're really getting at here is an important point. We think a lot of times what we give to her needs to be, well, one of the ways that guys really stumble on this is think that I need to give her money. I need to give her a home. I need, like, all I matter for, the only purpose I serve is to provide a paycheck. One of the best ways that you can give to your woman is by taking care of yourself, is by giving to yourself and making yourself stronger, more solid, more grounded, more mature. You are giving to her by giving to yourself. And also then when you, in my course, Becoming a Dominant Man, I walk guys through this 12 steps to dominance that I've put together. And the first step is take 100% responsibility for your life. And the second step is take care of yourself first. Why? Because if you are not full, you can only give from a place of emptiness. And when you're giving from a place of emptiness, you're just going to be trying to constantly fill this void because you're always empty. So in order to really inspire something different in her and to change that dynamic, you have to fill yourself up. So now you're giving from a place of fullness where you don't need to get anything from her. You can actually just give because it feels good to give.
That's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. I think that service first and foremost is to serve yourself. I think that's a really good point. And where can the service that you can give to her, if she's constantly worried about you and she's trying to take care of you, that's actually taking away her capacity to receive, because she feels like she's got to go tend you. You become another child of hers, or something that she has to tend, she has to take care of. So just you being able to take care of yourself. And then it's really been helpful with Rachel for me to realize it's not my words that she needs. It's not my leadership with like directionality and saying what to do. It's literally my energy. I have to keep going back to this word energy, but it's my capacity to be still, to hold her energetically, to be calm, to not be afraid, to be reassuring, to bring encouragement, to say, good job, I see you, to witness her, it's my capacity there that is the service. That's the thing I'm giving to her. And I think we don't, as men, think sometimes it's through money, or it's through a gift, or these languages of love, or it's touch, or it's this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, all that can go out the window if we have the right energy in this feeling. She needs to feel from us that we got it, that when there's a swirl, there's a chaos. That's a very explicit moment. But if somebody came in your room or his house and she needs to know who's the calm one, who's the one who's, I got this, you got, that's a great little example of it. But how can you be that in all of your life, in all of the moments? Be the calm one. Be the one when everyone's losing their shit, to be the one that's calm. That's ultimately a great service to her. That's a starting place, and then you can add from there. And that's attunement. I think going back to that word attunement, that's a really wonderful, it's attuning your energy to that. Yes.
The other thing I love about the word attunement is it really implies being on the same page with. It's a completely different ballgame, because now one of the things that I say to Dawn is, you give me complete control and I promise to use it to make your life better and set you free.
Mm-hmm.
Not just get what I want. What I really want is to see that woman alive. Mm-hmm. What I really want is to see her bubbling with joy, eros, and excitement. Mm-hmm. And when I set her free to be that alive, by the way that I take care of her, by the way that I give to her, by the way that I see what she needs when she maybe can't see it real clearly herself because she's all tied up in her fears and she's all lost in her head sometimes, and I can see what she really needs. Then, guess what? Everything she gives to me is now coming from a place where she feels so loved and cared for and protected and provided for and looked after.
Beautiful. And it's context. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about systems thinking, and how when you're systems thinking, meaning that we are not in one system, but there's multiple systems, and they're dynamic and they're alive and they relate. I was really thinking about it as a way to lead our women and to be of service, because a woman is really multiple systems.
To really understand women differently. This is the most simple way that I can put it. She is a feminine woman is a moment-to-moment expression. She is not pre-planned. She's not premeditated. She's not following through on what she thought yesterday or what she said she was going to do. She is here in this moment right now. She isn't even a system. She's just a reactive being who is from the world around her in the moment as it's coming at her. And she's responding to it, reacting to it, feeling what she feels in response to what she's experiencing in the moment. That is a woman in her feminine, which is why men will sometimes say or talk about how a woman's love can be ephemeral. It can feel like she loves you one minute and then she doesn't love you the next minute. It's because that's what she's feeling in that moment, and that's real for her. That's how she's built, and that's not a flaw. That's not a bug, it's a feature. And when a woman comes out of that moment-to-moment reflective feeling state and comes into planning and structure, then she starts to become her own masculine. This is a part of what we can give to her by setting order, by setting structure, by providing for her, by protecting a space where she can be free, is we can let her start getting out of her head. Because most women spend most of their lives trying to become men in a masculine expression. They try to be good planners, they try to be order, they try to be structure, they try to follow through on a path that they set out for their life, they set goals. And it's not the way that they're built. The way they're built is to be in this moment.
We're better at men than most men these days.
Yeah, because men are being trained to be women, and we both end up being really shitty carbon copies of what the other could just do naturally if we allowed them to.
I think one of the things that to be of service to is to acknowledge. I think one of the big things that I've learned for me, it's one thing to come in and say she's supposed to be in her feminine and all the time, and then judge the parts of her that are really in her masculine. I think a first thing for me to be of service is to actually acknowledge all the ways that she's showed up, acknowledge all the ways that she's been really taking care of business, providing, or doing a lot of the more masculine things. If we don't acknowledge that, or at least become aware of that, or see that and just dismiss it and try to move her to that's not really of service. And I don't think that's actually what you're saying. And I think that's
why would she be in that state in the first place? Because she had to be.
Exactly. And so, but I think you can't just rip it away from her. Like there has to be a transitionary stage.
She will naturally let go of those things when she isn't forced to rely on them. Women come to us all the time in our coaching practice because they want their experience of life to be more like Dawn's. And Dawn's experience of life is only the way that it is. It's not because of anything she did. It's because I stood up, I provided for her, I protected her, I've seen her, I've given her the space to just explore and be in the moment. Mm-hmm. And everything that she lives and that she experiences, it just comes naturally. Mm-hmm. It's really just required her to be willing to be set free. But yeah, you don't force a woman to get out of her masculine. You allow her to come into her feminine by feeling safe to do so.
Your journey with her, it's taken years. It's not an overnight thing. I feel like one of the things that I've seen and witnessed with her, just even since I've known you guys the last couple of years, her just being more and more soft. Like there's a softerness, like an energy in that. And it's a vibe. It's an energy that I think emanates. And
it's real. She couldn't perform that.
Yeah.
Which means I can't just make her do it. I can't dom her into relaxing, letting go of all of the things she's afraid of and the reasons she shows up in the world this way. Mm-hmm. I can't make her let go of that. I can only let her feel safe enough to start setting them down.
All right. And I think this, ultimately, if we think about dominance as leadership without service is pure, it's just narcissism, it's selfish, it's narcissism. It has an end game that's just it will eat itself. And I think the service is the point of leadership. You're leading something somewhere for something bigger than you. There's a vision, there's something that's a bigger vision. And I think that goes back to another thing that I want to talk about, which is part of the service that we can provide as a dom is actually having a vision for the relationship. And I feel like you've done a really great job with, you even have I think there's a course or something about mission statement or service, or you've talked about this in your other podcast, but I just wonder if you could give a little frame right now of what it is, how providing a vision is providing a service. What is she gaining from that? And speak about that, because that's like on a bigger picture, but I think as a leader, you start at the big and then you can work your way down.
So this comes back to the idea of dominance as leadership. I get to tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. We've all had bosses like that in the past who think that being a boss just means that they have to be always telling you what to do. And they justify their position by like basically just bossing you around even when there's no point. If you want to lead your woman, if you want her to follow you, you got to be going somewhere. You can't lead her standing still, like you're just playing musical chairs. Well, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. There's no point to it. There's no freedom in it. There's nothing to follow. Mm-hmm. So not only do you need to be going somewhere in your life that matters to you, that you care about, you have to have a vision for your life. You have to have a purpose for your life. You have to be pursuing something. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what your purpose is, pick the thing that's the most exciting to you and pursue it. Mm-hmm. And then be willing to adjust as time goes by. But the relationship needs to have a purpose or a vision too. And this is where we can say, what is this, what are the values of this relationship? What are we going to stand for and then what is it that I want to lead her to? Some of the words, I want to share this with you. Some of the words and I'm not going to share all of what our relationship's vision is, but I want to at least give you a little bit of this. Some of the words in our vision are that the totality of our mutual surrender is a light to the world, that our lives are lived in full integrity to the truth, aspiring to in every moment. So now these are just a couple of the things the ways that I am providing structure, the structures that I'm setting in the first place, the rules that are all trying to bring us to a point of this vision being more true. And then she's actually got something to follow rather than just being bossed around.
Right. No, I agree. One of the big things that I've come to with our vision of our relationship is that it serves consciousness, like the evolution of consciousness, the evolution of another way of saying is growth. I love getting better as a human. I love her getting it better. She loves getting better. She doesn't, let's even throw that word out the window. Just say evolving. That we're learning and dying to our ego and evolving as a human, evolving in our consciousness. And I feel like this type of relationship asks that of us. And what I have found that I'm having to learn are so many more skills that are here on the ground, so many more practical things, like things around money, things around cooking, things around just time management, things around logistics and more administrative things. There were a lot of things that weren't necessarily my strong suit, but if I'm going to take them here, and I think that service then is our capacity to learn and to grow and to see the bigger picture and to see that a lot of things in our relationship have a lot of similarity to running a small business, that there is a vision that you're creating, you're leading this business. There's a point, there's a purpose. We're not just here to provide each other with like sex or provide each other with pleasure or sustenance or just where we can go relax or whatever, because ultimately you're not going to be satisfied if that's your vision. But ultimately there's something that's way beyond this. And I know you understand this because that's also what you're speaking of. This could be a light and the beacon to the world. You can see that men and women can come together and in their polarity, they can actually show the potential of what it is to be a human, what it is to be alive, what it is to love, what it is to how that can transform, and that it can heal ourselves, that there's great healing in that. Because that's also something that I've experienced. That as I'm healed in myself, I'm able then to be of more service to her and service to others.
Really is no greater gift. And that's what a lot of this comes back to for me is, yes, we are always, as men, we're always looking for freedom. And one of the things that I say to Dawn pretty frequently lately is I want us both to be free. Mm-hmm. Not free from each other, but free with each other and free through each other. To find this ability to be able to be fully ourselves, to be fully authentic with no fear of losing each other's love because of something that comes up for one of us or the other one that feels like it's important to explore. Mm-hmm. So we use words like being each other's biggest cheerleaders. talk about freedom. When you've built a relationship that allows you to be in the exploration of who you are, and you've given her the freedom to be in the exploration of who she is, and you get to do that together. You get to do that in encouragement of each other, and you get to feel like you have someone who's encouraging you to be all of you, to keep evolving, to keep growing, to keep seeking the deepest truth in yourself that you can find, and not needing to be someone for her, and she doesn't need to be anyone for me. One of the ways that I define submission for Dawn is that her submission to me is the being fully herself. And that is a gift that I get to give to her. The ability to, like, she doesn't have to perform anything for me. All I need from her really is for her to be in self-acceptance. And that challenges us as men, challenges me. It challenges me every day. Because if I'm afraid of losing her, and this is the ultimate one, right? I'm afraid of losing her, and her being in full exploration of her acceptance and being who she is means that I can't guarantee her love. But I don't want to guarantee her love. If it's guaranteed, it's forced and performative. I would rather be a choice. So in order, like, for her to freely and fully love me, she has to be fully and freely able to walk away from me if she needs to.
Giving her freedom is a great service. Ultimately, one of the things that I've found in this relationship that's been the most powerful thing is I've fallen in love with myself. I've fallen in love with my time alone. I've fallen in love with my capacity to hold myself. I've fallen in love with and respect the little boy inside of me, the little girl inside of me, all the different parts of me, all the pain, because in order for me to show up to her and be empty and be in a space to be of service to her, I've had to do so much inner work because she is so big and so that if I hadn't done it, and there are plenty of times when I hadn't, it would trigger me. It would upset me. I would get discombobulated. I would be in the red or this zone. I would be in a state where I wouldn't be able to be present with her. I would close off my heart. I would close off myself. So I wasn't able to really fully feel her and with an open heart. And I think there's this wonderful Peter Senge in this book I was just reading about presencing. He speaks about when someone's saying something, we have a plan, we have a plan, right? And then the plan of action goes not according to how we want it to be. How do we respond in that moment? Do we contract or do we open up? And a feminine being always is going to thwart your plan of action. And in that moment, are we opening our heart or are we closing our heart? Are we closing down and contracting so as not to react? Then we're not really have done the work, because all we're doing is putting up walls so that we don't feel. But you said this so fucking well, Andrew. I really owe it to you. Thank you. About being a sensitive man, and that sensitivity is the key, and that we have to be able to feel our shit, because that's the only way for us to maintain an open heart, because we have to process and feel that shit. Not there in that moment, but aside somewhere else where we do the work, where we feel it, we go through it, so that in the moment when she's feeling it, we can resonate with that. We can attune with her. She can feel us feeling her. That's the thing she wants to feel. She wants to feel that we're feeling her and we're not getting tripped up in it. And that's really powerful when we can do that.
Yeah, that's one of the most transformational moments in my whole journey in this, was that phrase that when I heard this said that she needs to feel you feeling her. I'm not even going to try to break that down right now.
No.
Just if you're a guy listening to this, you hear that, if you can really let that sink in, what those words mean, that she needs to feel you feeling her. Everything that it takes to be able to do that, and the result of it when you can, will change everything for you. There's another one that really got to me. And that was the statement that if you want something from your woman, give to her exactly what it is that you are wanting from her, and keep on giving it and keep on giving it until the chaser has become the tail. So think about that. When you think about this idea of dominance as giving, what do you give to her? Give her without attachments, without conditions. Give her exactly what it is that you want from her, and keep on giving with no limit and no end. Keep on giving. Doesn't matter if you get it. What you really are going to need for yourself, what you're really going to find, what really will change everything for you, isn't in getting what you want. But when you start giving away and giving her what it is that you want from her, and you do it so much that you forget that you ever wanted it in the first place, that's where you find your freedom. Because you get to let go of your attachment to whatever it is that you were needy about in the first place.
The attunement that you speak about, it works not only with her. One of the things that I'm noticing as I'm doing this work is you see it play out everywhere. You see it play out when you're in public. You see it play out in politics. You see it play out. All humans, we're dying to be led. We all want to be led. We all want to be held. We all want a container that's considering us, that's taking care of us. We do. Even if you're a leader, even if you're a dom, ultimately you want to feel that in your body, in yourself, you with you. That's what I was saying before. This is what this whole thing has taught me, is I have gotten to a point right now where I just feel this replenishment. I walk into an empty room by myself and I'm just like, oh, there you are, buddy. I'm just like, I love being with me. And that has been a really powerful game changer. A lot of work to get to that place, because then I can bring, that's the service that I can bring, and it becomes alive in that moment where she just wants to be in my energy and in my space, in my field. And that's this great service that we can provide. And I think
she wants you because you want you.
Exactly. If we don't want ourselves,
she accepts you because you accept yourself.
Exactly.
She desires you because you desire yourself.
Exactly.
A woman, there's no more inconvenient truth than this. A woman is a mirror to you of everything that you are. And so if your experience with women is shitty, that is showing you something. Because a woman is, back to what I said earlier about her being a reflective being, like being in the moment, reflecting back how she feels about what she's experiencing. So you're getting from women sucks. Don't blame her. She's just reflecting back to you something going on inside of yourself. Don't try to change her.
Wow.
She's not broken. Offering you a service.
Yeah, and you could see that. And this is where, to me, when I can see reality as it is and not have my emotions or my feelings be triggered by it, and I could stay above the line, that's it. That's the name of the game. That's the game we're playing. That's the dominance. That's the inner dominance. See reality as it is, stay above the line, our frequency, not let that be rocked. Then from there, we can make the move. We can do the thing. We can serve. We can lead. We can do whatever. But you have to, and a woman is practice for that every day.
Yeah, you just defined a presence. Right. Can I be with whatever is? Can I be with reality? Like, I ask myself that question 100 times a day. Can I be with this? And when you think about the language in that question, can I be like me? Can I just be? Can I be okay? Can I be solid? Can I just be with this? So let this be, that implies that I'm going to let this be what it is. And can I be solid? Can I still be in myself? Can I still be all of me in the presence of the reality of whatever this is?
And that goes back to opening up your feelings and your heart and your sensitivity, because when you're closing that off, you're actually unconsciously not okay with what is. There's a part of yourself that you're not okay with. There's a part of reality you're not okay with. That's why we numb ourselves. That's why we get addicted. That's because there's something that we're uncomfortable with what is. And it's our capacity to be comfortable with what is, which is what defines leadership and masculinity and our capacity to be present.
You want a different experience of life, start by getting into your life and getting out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Start by get present in your body, present in your reality, get out of your head, get into the moment that you're in and really start paying attention to it. Otherwise, you're just playing around in imagination land. You got to get reality, and then you can actually start making some real changes. But it starts with accepting that the way it is the way it is. The things that are happening. And the part that you play in them is the part that you play in them, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not. And that is the biggest gift, the biggest service that we can be to our women and to the entire world around us, is to be present and to bring enough consciousness and awareness to our own experience to be able to be solid in any circumstance.
And there's humility in that. I think that's one of the big qualities that,
oh my God, is there ever?
Yeah.
Like, because you have to humble the fuck out of yourself. Your ego doesn't matter at all if you're going to let.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Andrew, I think this was another great conversation that we've had, and I really always deeply appreciate him. It's my own therapy. I'm selfish. I love this weekly. It's free therapy for me. It's time with you. So I really value, and anybody listening to this, one of the things that Andrew's really showed me is just give away everything. Give it away. We're giving this away. There's nothing we're asking, but if you do want to have further conversation with either of us, look in the bio, there's links in our little things, and whether you're on YouTube or the other places, you can find us out and keep this conversation going on a one-on-one or with your couple. We both do couples as well. We both have partners where we interact with as well. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Every week I look forward to this as well. And it is the iron sharpens iron, bringing our minds together and our experiences together. Not only do we make ourselves and each other better, but by putting this out into the world and sharing it with other guys who are also trying to make themselves better, it's meaningful to me to be able to move the needle, even just one click in one person's life, to a little bit more consciousness, a little bit more strength, a little bit more openness and solidity, and what that does to the world and the ripple effect it has. It means everything to me. So I'm really grateful every week to sit down and have these talks with you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.